Greetings fellow men, Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again, and today I want to update you on recent events concerning the coalition talks in Germany. As I stated before, as you all know probably, Germany doesn't have a government yet. The Jamaica talks failed, as I said in my last video, so now of course the pressure on the Social Democrats is rising. And actually, the leader of the Social Democratic Party, Martin Schulz, said that he categorically will not go into a big coalition again with Angela Merkel. He wants to be in the opposition. There are many reasons for that, but now as these talks have failed with the Green Party and the Liberal Party, the pressure of course on the Social Democrats rises, and not only the media and the voters want them to take up the responsibility of forming a new government, it's of course also people in the Social Democratic Party who want to be in government, because that means a lot of power, a lot of money. And so Martin Schulz is no longer stable, no longer secure at the top. The opposition against him is actually going stronger within the ranks of the Social Democratic Party. So now he actually flipped, and now of course he is ready to start the talks about a new big coalition with Angela Merkel. So that would be actually the continuation of the coalition that we had before the election. So in fact nothing would change. So Martin Schulz and his SPD are the laughing stock of Germany right now, and of course the Communist Party, Die Linke, is making jokes about him, and yeah, they are perceived as a very, very weak party, and in another coalition under Angela Merkel they will just become weaker and weaker. Now it is interesting to point out that the youth organization of the SPD, and they don't call themselves the Young Social Democrats, no, they call themselves the Young Socialists, so they are at least honest. This organization is called the Jusos, the Young Socialists, and they of course subscribe to all the crazy leftist opinions that we find these days on social media. Of course they are ultra feminist. All the guys in there are super cucked, and they're actually tipping their fedora twice a day at least. So they are kind of the hellspawn of the Social Democratic Party. They are the spoiled little brats that wanna be in power in the next generation. And they said now that they are opposed to the idea of a new big coalition. They want to actually go into the opposition, and they even said that they will fight Martin Schulz on this if he wants to enter a new coalition with Angela Merkel. So we all know that Martin Schulz is a very weak leader, and it seems that he doesn't even have his little brats under control. Now the youth organization of Angela Merkel's party, all they said is that they want the coalition talks to be finished until Christmas. This is the deadline. If not, then there will be a minority government or there will be new elections. So another thing that is worth mentioning is that nobody really wants new elections. They all want to avoid this. Maybe because they fear that the AfD and maybe other parties also, like the FDP and Die Linke, would profit from new elections when the people see that the former big parties, the centrist parties, cannot get the job done. Now what would that mean actually if we had another installment of the big coalition in Germany, the Social Democrat, Christian Conservative, centrist coalition? I said before that nothing would change, but that is actually wrong, because a big coalition is not meant to be the norm. It is supposed to be an emergency solution when no other stable government can be formed. The danger of a big coalition is always that the citizens of Germany get the perception, get the feeling that there is no real opposition, that there is no real discussion, because the two big parties, they will do what they do, and they make their dirty deals. They don't really agree on fundamental issues, but both sides just get their way, which will become very, very expensive for the taxpayers in the end, as I will show, and nothing really gets done. There is just a big consensus. It is the lowest common denominator of the left and right wing parties, and that actually means nothing gets done. It just means that all the buddies and all the loyal party soldiers will get jobs and retirements. The state will, of course, grow much, much faster than under another coalition, and in the end, the taxpayer will bleed. That is what that means. And an indication of that is already the statement of the biggest state group of the Social Democratic Party. I'm talking, of course, about North Rhine-Westphalia. They said that they will only agree to another big coalition if a huge list of demands will be met. Without going into too much detail, the list is full of demands for higher taxes, more burdens on the productive people in Germany, more redistribution, more welfare, more illegal immigration, and less security for our country. More transfer payments to other European countries, and so on and so forth. So in short, the German workers will have to pay for foreigners who either live abroad or are in Germany, and also for parasites in our own state. You know, I remember a time when the Social Democratic Party was actually the party of the working men, but these times are far gone. And if these crazy SJW leftists will not get that once before their forefathers were advocates of the German workers, then they will not stop at 20%. They will go down to 15, to 10, and I hope that they will vanish altogether, because we have other parties now that are actually advocating for the rights of the German workers. So, and another thing that would change is, of course, that if the SPD is forming a coalition with Angela Merkel, then the biggest opposition party would actually be the AfD. That would make them opposition leader. And all the other parties, the Liberal Party, the Communist Party, the Green Party, they're all smaller than the AfD. So they would actually be the little opposition parties, and the AfD would be the big opposition party, which gives them, of course, a prominent role in the German parliament. And this is actually what the other parties are afraid of. And I must say that I listened on YouTube and I watched the first speeches of the AfD members in the Reichstag building in the Bundestag in front of our parliament, and I have to say I couldn't have delivered better speeches. I am really proud of them. I voted for them, and after listening to these speeches I know that I voted for the right party. They clearly say what needs to be said, and they do so publicly in our Reichstag, and that is just great. And I'm looking forward to many, many more great speeches of the AfD. So one little example is that Herr Gauland was saying while the parliament was discussing once again about the crisis in the Middle East and how horrible that situation is there. He actually said only that Germany could have discussed about these things in earlier decades, and even 1917, 100 years ago, during the imperial era even, and it would have had the same effect. You know, the situation would have been similar, the suffering would have been great, but it would have made no sense at all, and it doesn't make any sense now, because Germany does not have any influence in this region at all. The Chinese, the Russians, the Americans, of course, and other European powers have much more influence in this region and are actually engaged in this region to a much higher degree than we are. What we talk about, what we decide in Parliament, has no bearing whatsoever on the situation in the Middle East. So he just dropped that truth bomb in there and told them all that we should be talking about something else. And it is this sense of realism, these facts, these red pills that the German public needs. And these speeches are, of course, broadcasted, and videos of that can be found on YouTube. And so the German public gets to hear these things because the AfD is in Parliament. This is maybe one little thing that will change in the coming years compared to the previous 4 years. So, I hope you all enjoyed this weekend and you are updated now a little bit on what's going on politically in my home country. So I just make these videos to keep you informed so that you don't think, oh my god, what's going on in Germany now, when you hear the next big thing in the media. I want you to be informed about these little things before the big things happen. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday and get well into the coming week. Servus, Kameraden.